Hello, this is Mr. Griffin. I'm bringing you a little bit more of a special review of Raw from last night, or should I say March the 12th, 2012. And here, for the first time, you might have heard my video a while back on Chris Brown, where I did a Chris Brown diss rap. That was more an alter ego that I usually don't bring out, by the name of Spoken Griff. Kind of a play on spoken word, but he's gonna make a little vocal appearance today somewhere during this. But let's begin the Raw review right now. We start off this Raw with an appearance from John Cena, but no, not the typical rise above hate, C Nation, positive, grinning Cena. No, it's the old Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena. And I have to admit, Cena, he really stepped. He's been stepping it up, but he really stepped it up tonight. Now, this is the Cena I've been kind of lobbying for all along. If you're not going to turn Cena heel, if you're not going to turn him heel, at least bring this Cena back. Now, this Cena I could see taking on The Rock, because this one had nuts, and this one said whatever the heck he wanted and didn't care about repercussions or any of that stuff. He even did the old, that old sign that he used to do when he was leaving. I thought it was a very good segment personally. Cena's been stepping up. I think, I'm glad they relaxed the PG rule for this, the PG rating, WWE that is. Of course, they had to bleep out a couple of things he said, but I'm glad they relaxed it and let John Cena be John Cena. Very good opening segment, to which we followed up by Vicky Guerrero introducing Dolph Ziggler for his match against Sheamus. This match surprisingly got a lot of time. It got about 10 minutes or so. And of course, we had a side interview with Daniel Bryan along with AJ Lee. And I got a couple of comments about the whole Daniel Bryan, AJ Lee situation, and also on the Eve Torres, Zack Ryder situation, but I will save that. Actually, my special guest, Spoken Griff, is going to take care of that segment. But Sheamus wins, as he should. Going into WrestleMania, he's got to look strong. So we go on to the next thing, which I believe, if I recall, was David Otunga. It was supposed to be David Otunga versus Santino Marella. But then John Laurinaitis, who's the general manager of Raw right now, comes out and makes it a handicap match to where Santino has to take on David Otunga and the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. And I think the right decision was made here. The heels went over, making them seem like a threat towards WrestleMania. And we kind of got inkling of who's going to be on John Laurinaitis' team, who's going to be on Teddy Long. For Teddy Long, I believe, Santino, of course, Kofi Kingston, and R-Truth for Laurinaitis, we have David Otunga and Mark Henry. Of course, if what I saw was any indication, Teddy, it ain't looking too good for you, brother. My God. I mean, Otunga, I got to give him credit where credit's due. Otunga and Henry, they both squashed not only Morella, but Kingston and R-Truth by themselves. And of course, Christian is set to return this Friday. While one can assume he's going to join Laurinaitis' team, but we'll have to wait and see. Then, of course, we had the little segment with Eve Torres, Zack Ryder, with a surprise appearance from Beth Phoenix. Like I said, I'll get to that later. Moving on, we have now The Miz fighting for a spot on WrestleMania. And John Laurinaitis said, well, sure, you got to beat CM Punk tonight, though. Of course, CM Punk ends up making The Miz tap out like a bitch to the Anaconda Vice. So, guess no WrestleMania right now for Miz. But that isn't the story. The story happens after the match, when Chris Jericho shows up on the Titantron. Well, I don't know what they call it now. It used to be the Titantron. But anyway, and delves into something, brings out a little real life into the angle, where he talks about CM Punk's dad being a drunk, and that's why he's got all those tattoos, and that's why he's straight edge, and how at WrestleMania he's going to drive him to drink because he's going to beat him for the WWE Championship. And then when he takes that first drink, he's going to want more and more. And for once, the usually vocal CM Punk was silent. Yeah, this angle's starting, well, it was already okay, but now it's starting to get pretty good. And to backtrack a little bit, we had a segment between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. It was okay. It was not neither guy's best mic work. Not at all. I mean, it didn't stink up the joint, but this was far from their best. Of course, we get inklings that Shawn Michaels might screw over The Undertaker. And of course, The Undertaker's saying, if the win is not pure, there will be hell to pay. And of course, Triple H comes out on the ramp, looks at Shawn Michaels, kind of smirks at him, and then looks at The Undertaker, gives him the old DX crotch chops. So, who knows where this angle's going to end. Then, moving on to basically the most anticipated segment of the night, The Rock concert. Which, of course, The Rock, sings his song strumming on the acoustic guitar, which he's not a bad guitar player. Of course, he's strumming the only song he knows, but he does it entertainingly. And this is more of The Rock we've been wanting to see. But the real eye-opener is when he used Queen's old "We Will Rock You" and actually had the place going. And I have to say, what a great way to end Raw. I'm an R&B hip-hop type guy, and some jazz. I don't listen to rock music too often, but I have to admit, that's one of the few rock joints I will pump in a heartbeat. So I was totally into this. So I have to say, not the best edition of Raw, but I've seen worse. Much worse. At least it gave some build to the angles that are upcoming at WrestleMania. And in the coming days and weeks, as the card gets more finalized, I will probably give you my predictions. And I rarely do prediction shows. But I'll give you my predictions on who I think will come out on top at WrestleMania. Or at least who I think should. And now getting back to two things. This goes out to Mr. Parkin of the British Fist. This is a little commentary by my alter ego, Spoken Griff, on AJ Lee and my lady Eve Torres. Watch it and enjoy, folks. Okay, on the AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan situation, is it just me, or is it leaning a bit towards a domestic situation? Last week on SmackDown, as AJ was speaking, Daniel Bryan told her, "Shut up!" in a very forceful and disrespectful way. Plus, this past Monday on Raw, AJ Lee didn't look too happy sitting beside Daniel Bryan as he was talking his trash about Sheamus and their upcoming match at WrestleMania 28. Now, I hope the WWE isn't thinking about going down a domestic violence angle here in light of recent events of the past couple of years, particularly with Chris. I'm bleach blonde, tulip lip, big tooth, can't whip no ass unless it's a woman brown. But then WWE has done it in the past, namely with the late great Macho Man, ooh yeah, dig it, Randy Savage, and his late wife, Miss Elizabeth. So we will see where this goes, but it seems to be headed down a dark path. As for my baby, Eve Torres, the situation with Zack Ryder, as we found out on Raw, is now friends with benefits. Friends with benefits? Well, I'll be honest, shit, I take that deal. To get a hot tamale like Eve, I'd be her friends with benefits anytime. But anyway, Beth Phoenix shows up, and Eve promptly disses Beth. Could we be seeing a face turn on the part of Divas champion Beth Phoenix? Perhaps a match between Eve and Beth at WrestleMania, rather than the one that personally I dreaded, that I thought they was headed with Eve Torres versus Kelly Kelly. Again, we will wait and see. Now, to my British brother from across the pond, Mr. Parkin 01, we need to get together, catch both Daniel Bryan and Zack Ryder on an off night, nail them upside the head with any blunt object we can get our hands on, tie them up, bound and gagged with ropes and chains and padlocks, wake their punk asses up to the sight of AJ Lee for you and Eve Torres for me, buck ass naked, and show those two weak ass motherfuckers how it's done. I mean, look at him. Now Daniel Bryan, he's a great wrestler, no doubt about it. I mean, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be caught in that label lock. Hell no, that shit looks painful as hell. But come on, man, he isn't exactly a graceful, handsome-looking man. All those submission holds they put on, like that label lock, now those, like I said, I wouldn't want to be caught in that shit, but I'll say this, the label lock don't mean shit if a dude can connect upside your jaw first with a good left hook or a good right cross or kick you dead in your balls. As for Zack Ryder, that Rough Rider, man, he come at me with that shit, I'd have been headbutted him in his nuts a long time ago. But then again, I'm not sure a low blow to his manhood would do any damage because I'm not sure he has shit down there. But he still got eyes, he still got a throat, and he still got kneecaps. All vulnerable spots. Well, that's all I got to say on that issue. AJ Lee, holler at my boy Mr. Parkin across the pond. And Eve, holler at me. We may not have Daniel Bryan's fame and championships or Zack Ryder's coolness with his New Jersey Shore punk ass, but we are sure as hell rich in other ways in being a real man as both a human being and, well, you'll have to find that out for yourself. Play the game, bring the pain. I'm out. Back to you, Mr. Griffin. Well, I never said that Spoken Griff was the classiest, clean mouth type person. He says what's on his mind and really doesn't care what no one thinks. But that's my alter ego. Maybe he'll make an appearance again sometime. Let me know what you think. I'm out.